keep their grass. Hello, folks. Welcome back to our reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing the book Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, number 34 from Emoji 62. Now, the front cover is pretty interesting. You have those two lawn gnomes that are standing in the foreground, and basically, they kind of among those lawn ornaments, like the flamingos and the deer, and the scene seems to be taking place at night, as it is suggested by the dark background, like the bushes. It's all, it seems to be lurking in the dark, like a very dark blue light, or like the shadow stretching forward and stretching along those lawn ornaments. And the scenery is pretty interesting. The grass and the leaves and everything. It's pretty beautiful. There's also what seems to be some kind of a bowl, and I really like it. And it seems that the grass seems to be lighted up by some kind of a street lamp or something, as the green is kind of bright, so I really like it. But those lawn ornaments, especially the lawn gnomes, are pretty scary, especially with their green outfits and the strange looks on their faces, and their pointy orange hat that are reflected by the title of the book, Goosebumps. The title of the series, sorry, and the whole colors, yellow and orange, that are capturing the image, that are kind of framing the picture. I really like this front cover a lot. So now I think I said enough about the front cover, and maybe we should move on to the book itself. So bear in mind that I read this book a year ago, 2 years ago actually. So forgive me if some things are not exactly totally clear in my mind, but I'm gonna try my level best to let you know about the main things about this book. So the book is about that family, and Joe Burton and his sister Mindy are the main characters. And what happens is that they call kids, and they're playing in their basement with one of their friends. His name is Moose McCall, and I don't know. I don't think Moose is his real name, but it's a nickname they gave him because he's kind of like a moose for some reason. That's pretty funny, isn't it? So Moose McCall is he's Joe's neighbor, and basically he's the son of Mr. McCall. What was his name? I don't remember exactly who he is, but basically he's their neighbor, and their father, Mr. Burton, is actually some kind of a gardener. Like he's growing vegetables in his garden and everything, and he's competing with his neighbor, Mr. McCall, and basically, I'm not sure, but I think Burton is going to be growing some tomatoes, whereas Mr. McCall is growing some cassava melons. So yeah, some melons. So it's a pretty good thing, and they kind of competing. Mr. McCall is a former. What was he again? Wasn't he a let me check it out here. I don't recall exactly. I don't want to say anything, inaccurate, but I think he was a former what exactly? I'm sorry about this, kind of messy. I don't know. He was in the army. He was in the army. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading from Goosebumps. I'm quoting a little bit from the Goosebumps website. I mean, I'm not quoting exactly what is said or anything. I'm kind of I'm using my own words, but I'm checking it out from time to time to get an idea of how to about an idea of what happened in the book, right? So sorry if sometimes I don't really know what to say because I just I don't remember everything about this book, but yeah, I'm gonna try to do my level best to make a good review. So basically, yeah, he was in the army, and basically Mr. Burton are competing. Mr. McCall and Mr. Burton are competing, and basically there's that thing called, I quote, the annual garden show. That is kind of a battle where the two are gonna compete, and the best gardener will get a prize or something, some kind of an award, or yeah, some kind of prize. Don't ask me what exactly. I don't recall, but something like that. And basically, Mr. Burton is kind of angry a lot because he's often upset because the thing is, Mr. Burton's dog, or the family dog, that's a Rottweiler, if I'm not mistaken, always, goes to, he always trespass on Mr. McCall's garden, and he would ruin everything, his vegetables, his whole garden. And I gotta admit that if that happens in real life, people should really, be careful of those things, and you know, set up a proper fence and make sure that the dog can't escape, because that's a real problem. And so yeah, because dogs usually would just do things like ruin the garden or whatever, and eat the vegetables. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, so Mr. McCall is pretty angry at Buster. That's the dog. And basically, Mindy, the sister, and Joe don't like Mr. McCall very much, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the premise of the book. Now it's the summertime, and Mr. Burton. Something I didn't mention about him is that he's kind of a lawn ornament freak, meaning he loves lawn ornaments. It's one of his hobbies. So he loves to go to that place called Lawn Lovely. That is kind of a store that is selling lawn ornaments. And basically, one day he takes his children with him, and they go to that place, and they buy two lawn gnomes. And those two lawn gnomes seem to be really scary looking, freaky looking, and they're named Hap and Chip. And one of them is named Hap because he looks happy, if I'm not mistaken. And the other one is called Chip because, if I'm not mistaken, one of his teeth is kind of chipped. So it's kind of funny. So they gave him that name for some reason. So that's pretty funny. So then, sorry about that. So then they go back to their house. They go back to the house, and Mr. McCall, no, Mr. Burton. Sorry, I keep messing up. Mr. Burton is gonna, put the lawn ornaments, put the lawn gnomes next to the other lawn ornaments, such as the flamingos, the deer. If I'm not mistaken, he also has a skunk, right? And all those things are pretty beautiful. And art-wise, I mean, like statues of animals. Usually, they're pretty good looking. And but so yeah, but those two lawn gnomes, they feel a little bit out of place. Like they seem pretty scary. And in the middle of amidst those other lawn ornaments. And what happens is that some real weird things are gonna start happening. Like Mr. McCall's garden is gonna get vandalized again, and Buster's gonna take the blame again, if I'm not mistaken. But it seems that Chip and Hap are somehow responsible. They're somehow responsible for what happened to Mr. McCall. And basically, his melons and his melons are gonna be kind of damaged. Like someone is gonna, plan something nasty to him. Somebody is gonna do something nasty to him. Like his melons are gonna start. I'm not exactly sure what happens, but someone, just it seems that somebody just ripped them off the ground and basically demolished them. Sounds like somebody ripped them off the ground and demolished them. So yeah, that's what happens, and then he's gonna get angry at what's his name, Mr. Burton. And what happens is that he's gonna end up squashing his tomatoes or something like that. I don't recall exactly what happened. I don't recall exactly what happened, but something like this. So there's a lot of tension, and then at some point, Joe is gonna get punished, and but then he's gonna try to solve the mystery, because at some point he takes the blame, and Mindy is kind of accusing him too. Little sisters are kind of mean in Goosebumps, but yeah, and he's gonna take the blame, but then he's gonna make him wanna stop the real culprit, and the one who's really doing all these things. He's gonna be determined to stop them, and he's gonna try to observe those lawn ornaments, those lawn gnomes, and as he is convinced that they have something to do with those weird freak accidents, those freak, those weird, those nasty things. At some point, yeah, he notices that one of them has remnants. There are some remnants of fruits or vegetables on his mouth or something. So he's gonna be convinced that they're involved in those attacks. So I'm gonna stop it right here. Sorry, that was kind of a messy review. I didn't recall so much about this book, but yeah, I tried my level best, so I hope you liked it. Now let's move on to my personal review of this book for the 5 next minutes. So I thought this book was pretty good. I really liked it. The fact that it takes place in the summer, the lawn ornaments, the characters are nice, especially Moose, and especially Joe, Mindy, and Moose. And Moose is pretty funny as he's wrestling with Joe a lot, and he's like Mighty Moose or something like this. I thought it was kind of cute. Like he's like I'm strong and stuff. He's kind of athletic, if I'm not mistaken. Like he has a big strong body that he can use against his enemies. He can use against his when he's messing around with his friends, he would just pretend to be strong and stuff, and wrestle them and win. That was pretty funny. I really like the concept of the lawn ornaments, and especially the lawn gnomes, and that's something that is kind of common in Goosebumps, to have some any ordinary objects that happen to be alive, and that cause mischief. And basically, yeah, this concept is also in Night of the Living Dummy, and Say Cheese and Die, and the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Some like a clock or ventriloquist dummy or camera. Those things are pretty normal, and but in fact, in Goosebumps, Stein usually uses them to actually, when in the stories he's writing, those things are actually very dangerous and bad. But the Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes is a little bit like Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes is a little bit like Night of the Living Dummy. It's kind of similar, but it's kind of fun too. It's more lighthearted. It's a little bit more lighthearted. It's more like a lighthearted version of Night of the Living Dummy, but it's pretty good and it's pretty enjoyable. I really liked it, and I don't know about you folks. I mean, on the comment section down below, but I heard a lot of people not liking this book that much, and I gotta say that it's a good book. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It reads by. I loved it. I had a blast reading it. It's really funny, but scary at the same time. It can get pretty scary. So I really liked Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes and everything. The final twist is great, and yeah, the dog is kind of a funny character too, even though he's not being very good. He's not being very good to Mr. McCall's melons. But yeah, everything else is good. There's some jokes here and there, and I really enjoyed this book. The humor in this book is good. Funny scenes are good. Honestly, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes is a pretty good book. And if some of you didn't like this book that much, maybe when you first read it, maybe you should give it another try. You should give it another try, another shot, and yeah, maybe you'll end up liking it more the second time around than the first time around. But yeah, I like Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes a lot, and yeah, I thought it was a pretty good book. Good characters, good premise. The season of the year, like the summer, is pretty good in my opinion. And so yeah, if I were to rate this book, I think I'd give it 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good book. It's pretty enjoyable. I really like I like pretty much everything about it. Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes is a good book, and I would definitely recommend it as maybe an introduction to Goosebumps, because everything is there. You see, it's scary, it's suspenseful, it's humorous as well, and so I would definitely recommend you to read Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes for any new reader. If you just stumble upon this book and you're wondering if you should read it or not, I'd say you should definitely read it. It's a pretty good book, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy it a lot. So yeah, I liked everything about it, really. I don't recall anything that was too bad about it. Sorry about this. Yeah, it's a good book, honestly, and it reads by. It reads by. You should definitely check it out. And if you're wondering whether it is a good book or not, well, I'll let you find out for yourselves and give it a shot and see if you like it or not. So yeah, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. If I were to rate this book, I'd give it 8 out of 10. As I mentioned, it's a good book. It's pretty good. The ending was great. The beginning is good. I really not much more to say about it. Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes was a good book. So what about you, folks? What did you think about Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And let me know in the comment section down below. I can't wait to hear about what you have to say about it. And like I said, if you're wondering whether you should rate it or not, and you're new in Goosebumps, and you should definitely read it, as I read this book in my early Goosebumps days when I was starting in May of 2020. But yeah, I would definitely recommend you to read this book. Thank you so much for watching, and if you read it, let me know in the comment section down below about your thoughts on the book. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next review. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Take care. This is Horton Reviews for you signing off. And now I'm going to be reading the summary. Someone's been stalking in my garden. 2 pink flamingos. A whole family of plaster skunks. Joe Burton's dad loves those tacky lawn ornaments. But then he brings home 2 ugly lawn gnomes, and that's when the trouble starts. Late at night, when everyone's asleep, someone's creeping in the garden, whispering nasty things, smashing melons, squashing tomatoes. No way too dumb old lawn ornaments could be causing all the trouble, is there?